Hello and welcome back to my Doctor Who review. Today I'm reviewing Doctor Who Rings of Akhaten, starring Matt Smith and Jenna Louise Coleman. I'll not spoil the plot because it's just been on the telly, quite a few hours ago, but you know. So we'll start the review. So we'll start with good points. Lovely sets. The sets are really good for this story. Like the setting and they're just nice sets, nice layouts, quite cool planet and space design kind of thing. I like the large amounts of alien creatures as well. I think that's pretty good. Yes, I have notes with me because I'm awesome like that. But yeah, I think the alien creatures are really. There's a lot of them in this. They've kind of went full out on all the different alien costumes. I think they reused a few. There are a few aliens that look quite similar to aliens that we've seen before in the recent series of Doctor Who, but they still look awesome. The Doctor greeting aliens at the beginning of the episode. He greets a few of the aliens that he sees in the marketplace. I think it's really funny, the whole greeting them and like talking about them and discussing their races and things like that and speaking in different languages. It's quite interesting and it's funny. It's just pretty good. He makes a reference to his granddaughter because he says he's been to Akhaten before. Because he was with his granddaughter, so it's a good reference. It's nice to see that they're referencing the fact that he's had a granddaughter. I like the alien vigil monster alien things. The problem with them is they're barely in it, but their creepy voices are awesome. They have these weird creepy voices, and I just think they're pretty cool because of their creepy voices and their look. They're really quite scary looking creatures. There's also some decent dialogue between Clara and the Queen of Years when she's kind of running away because she's scared. They go behind the TARDIS for a bit and then they start talking, and I think the dialogue between them's really good. It's well written. It's kind of, I think it shows off Jenna Louise Coleman's acting talent in that sense, and I think it's just really good. There's a random musical number thing where everyone starts singing, and it's actually quite decent, the song, so I put that as a good thing. I like the method of currency as well, how the method of currency is something that's special to you, and the more memories you've had with this item, the more special it is and the more it's worth. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. And towards the end of the episode, the creature god thing kind of comes forth, the grandfather or whatever they call it, and it's a giant planet god sun thing, and it's really awesome. The effects on it are really good, and to be fair, when you think it's just going to be this evil mummy thing, it is a bit anticlimactic, but it's also kind of, I'll say it would pay homage to kind of Pyramids of Mars, Tom Baker era, but then you get that giant planet god thing and you just think, crikey, well, that's almost godly in power. So you do actually get that kind of sense that this is a godly alien beast monster thing, other than something that's I am a god and it's actually about yay tall and so forth. And I've put this as a good point and a bad point, Doctor Who the musical. Because the episode seems to be like, oh, we'll just break into musical number and solve everything. I kind of liked it, but I've also put it as a bad point because I didn't like it as well, unfortunately. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the good points. Moving on to bad points. The opening is a bit pointless. Like the flashbacks into Clara's parents and childhood. I think that could have been explained in dialogue between the Doctor and Clara. But instead you get all these random flashbacks. And I really don't think they're necessary. But, oh well. I suppose I bet people will have enjoyed it. It's just, I didn't really think it was, I thought it was pointless. The Doctor's random temporary disappearance for like 10 minutes of the episode, where he just kind of disappears and leaves Clara on her own with the Queen of Years, just seems a bit pointless. Just seems like he just disappeared for no reason, and there was no really decent explanation or anything that justified why he just disappeared for a short moment. I mean, it wasn't even he got lost in a crowd of aliens, and then Clara was kind of like lost him in a crowd of aliens. It wasn't even that. He just kind of turned a sharp corner, and all of a sudden he's gone. And there just wasn't any explanation. He came back with this little blue egg thing, and that was it. And it just didn't seem like a decent explanation at all. And all of a sudden, everyone can breathe in the depths of space, or at least around space. I mean, the TARDIS lands on this bit of rock, and they leave the TARDIS and can breathe out of space. I understand that there might be like a little bubble around the TARDIS that allows you to breathe, but then the entire city marketplace thing, well, there's a bit open up to the depths of space. Fair enough, there might be a air bubble. But then when they're on this little speeder thing going through space, there's another air bubble for this as well. I mean, does everything have air bubbles or forms of ways to produce oxygen in space? Anyway, for an all-powerful, like, god creature thing, even though it's explained that it's like the alarm clock for the god, it isn't actually the god. It takes the piss to get out, to wake up kind of thing. Which, if it's all powerful and godly, you wouldn't expect it to be taking that long to like get up and awaken. There's also a bit in the pyramid where Clara's like stuck in like some mind force field thing that the girl puts on her, but she's stuck there for far too long. She's just standing there for no reason whatsoever. I mean, fair enough, the girl doesn't release her, but it just seems pointless and annoying, and it just Also, the Doctor can now do everything with his sonic screwdriver. He's able to prevent an attack from the Vigils with his sonic screwdriver, and weaken the Vigils, and open a stone door and keep it held up with the sheer strength of his sonic screwdriver. I think this has become a new series thing where the Doctor's became dependent on his sonic screwdriver, but it's became more like that now than ever before, and it's just annoying. I also have Doctor Who the musical written down here again because I didn't like the idea of it, but I also like the idea of it. It's a bit of both. But ultimately, at the end, with the power of a musical number, a few monologues by the Doctor, and a leaf with a lot of memories, it is solved. The problem is solved. I mean, how can a musical number. A few monologues by the Doctor and a leaf actually solve a problem. Again, it just seems like they've kind of... They solve problems far too easily in Doctor Who now. There's no strain in what the Doctor does. It's like in previous... I don't want to make references to the episodes, but in a lot of other things, the Doctor seems to at least have some form... Like, there'll be problems, you'll be able to solve them, but sometimes there'll be a problem where you just can't get around to it. He can't just fix it like that. He has to think about it, and he doesn't at all now, and especially in the episode before and in this episode. I said it would be fine, but I think it could be a problem that would grow and become worse, really. Because I don't mind it if there's the odd episode, but if it becomes every episode, then I'm going to get sick of it. And I think another problem is some of the, like, everything seems to be solved within, like, the last 10 minutes of the episode. And the problems, like, the great problems, like, come in at the very end of the episode as well, which is annoying. And the awesome creatures, the Vigils, were in it for 5 minutes, maybe less, and they were pretty awesome looking creatures, and they were barely in it, which is a bit annoying since they were pretty much the best thing of that episode. The Vigils were the best thing, other than, like, all the amazing sets and aliens and things. I think it's good, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I enjoyed the episode, but I think it kind of got to the end of it, and I was just like, "Is that it?" Well, that's a bit naff. That's what I kind of thought, and it was good, but it wasn't good enough. It was just mediocre. It wasn't terrible. I can't put it as terrible. There's things wrong with it, but it's not terrible. But it's not good enough to be the best episode ever. It's so I'd give it a rating of 5 out of 10. I kind of had this difficulty of getting from choosing between 5 and 6, but I honestly don't think it's a 6. And I think the reason why is because all the good things just aren't enough to bring it out. Like, the Vigils were amazing, but they were in it for 5 minutes, and it just didn't work as well as, say, the previous episode. The previous episode had more decent good points. It still had problems, but it had decent good points, whereas this one just has a few, and I can't just base it off a few because of this. I don't need to justify myself. No, but 5 out of 10. That's all I can really say. It was enjoyable to watch, but towards the end it just kind of, it just fell flat on its face, really. But thank you for watching. The next episode looks okay, actually. The Cold War, I think it's called, Cold War, with the Ice Warriors in. I'm kind of looking forward to it, because even though I've seen pictures of the Ice Warriors and kind of strongly dislike them, like I did with the Silurians, I'm kind of looking forward to it, because I want to see what they do. Even though I've seen the Ice Warriors and not like their design, I want to see what they do, really. So hopefully it'll be a good episode. Thank you for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that. Thanks, and I'll be back with my next review, which will probably be the next episode, unless of course I get enough time to review a top 10 worst or top 10 best review or a blog or something like that. But thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.